Hey guys, here's my first narrating Wi-Fi battle against XxNoEr or something like that for Wilechases round 2. And I start out with Jackass my Azulf, and he goes into Uxie. And I'm predicting rocks or yawn, so I go for the rocks, but he uses knockoff, which makes no sense to me. I've never seen that before. So he takes off my sash, and I go into Zapdos. Predicts that with a yawn. So I switch out and go into Coon. And he makes another good predict and goes into Stealth Rocks. Knocks off my leftovers. I predicted that. I didn't care, though. I go for the CM. He U-turns out, and I'm not sure what he's going to go into here, but he goes into another Suicune. And I'm predicting Crocoon, but it could be anything. So, Subcoon, you don't know. So I go for another, so I get that CM, and I just decide to switch. And I go into my Venusaur, thinking it's most likely a Crocoon, being the most common Suicune set. And I decide for a Sleep Powder, but he has Ice Beam, so it's not a Crocoon. And he gets Freeze Hacks, and I mean, so I can't get my Sleep Powder off. I can't get anything off, so I just fodder out because I know Frozen Venusaur that's almost dead is worthless. So now I'll go back into Azelf. I'm just gonna explode out because Crocoon or Suicune, I mean, is just a pain in the ass, especially with Ice Beam. My team is not gonna be able to handle it. So I just go boom, and bye bye Suicune. He goes into his Flygon. I'm expecting either Choice or Scarfed. Choice Scarfed or Choice Banded. So I go into Coon. And he U-turns out. And I get up a Calm Mind. Yeah, I get up a Calm Mind. And he goes for the close combat. I predicted that. And I knew I would survive, but I wasn't sure by how much. And I made a really bad play here. And I went for the Surf. And I should have gone for the rest so I could have used Crocoon with... He had a Calm Mind, and I don't know what I was thinking, but at least I take down Lucario. You know, go into his Flygon, and it'll kill me with EQ. And by now, I'm almost positive that he's Choice. So I go into Zapdos, figuring, oh yeah, Flying type can't hit EQ. So he switches out, goes into a Crest. This thing is the most pain in the ass Pokemon I've ever met. Or ever played against, and I just hate this thing with a passion. So my HP Grass does literally nothing, and I'm going to switch out because Zapdos can't do much. I go into Metagross, and here's where the hacks begins. His Toxic doesn't work because I'm Steel type, and he goes for the Thunder Wave. I don't care about that because I'm banded and I don't have much speed. But then I go Meteor Mash and I miss, and that thing would have done a ton if I had figured it out later. And he goes into Uxie, and I get Pair Hexed. So that's two, I can't move in 2 turns, I don't get to make a move. And he knocks off my band. And then I miss. So he knocks off my band, I miss. So that's 3 turns where I haven't done shit. And he U-turns out, and he goes back into, he goes into his Scizor. And my Meteor Mash will hit here, but it's not going to do enough to be a 2-hit KO. So he U-turns out, and this does a lot, good chunk, and he goes back into his Uxie, and I don't know what or why, but he just kept doing knockoffs here, and it was a good opportunity for me, but I missed my first Meteor Mash, and then he goes for another knockoff, and I hit it again, and I finally make a hit with Meteor Mash. Does about half. Decent amount, not enough to be a 2-hit KO again because I lost my band. And he U-turns out and he goes back into Scizor. And Scizor still will be able to live a Meteor Mash. I think he knows that. I don't know why I went Meteor Mash there. Or why I went Zapdos there. But he U-turns out and he goes into Crest. And I know I can't do shit to Crest with Zapdos. So I roost. Yeah, right, I roost, because I know he can't do much to me either. And he goes for a Psychic, which I was not predicting. And does barely anything. because Chris isn't that, most of the time, isn't that offensively capable. So I go for the Thunderbolt, so I'm figuring, alright, he can't do much to me, I can't do much to him, let's figure this out. And his Toxic misses. So I go back into meta, and by now I have almost no HP, and he gets off a Psychic. And I just did the math, and I figure I'll live by 3 HP. So I go boom. And that was amazing, because I'm so glad I noticed that, and I just went boom. And he probably thought he could kill me because it was that close. So Crest goes down, but so does Meta. And he goes into his Uxie again. This thing has been the biggest pain in the ass the entire game. And I go into my sub bulk up Machamp. And he goes for the Yawn, and I went for the sub, and I do not want to get this thing asleep. Machamp ended up almost saving me the game. So I take him out, and I go Zapdos, and he just knocks off my lefties, and I don't really care anymore. So basically just trying to do as much damage as I can before I try and set up the sweep with Machamp. So I Thunderbolt his Uxie, does decent damage. I fall asleep this turn after I hit this T-Bolt off. I know it wouldn't have killed, but I just wanted to get as much damage as I could on this Uxie. Because I figured if he U-turns out or switches, Stealth Rocks will kill him. And he does go for the U-turn. And this was a couple bad plays by him. And he goes into Scizor, and Stealth Rocks almost kills. And he U-turns again, which makes no sense to me. I'm not sure what kind of set he was running, but now he has 2 Pokemon that'll die if they go in on if this Flygon dies, both his Pokemon will die to Stealth Rocks. So U-turns out again, and he goes back into Scizor as fodder, I guess. I don't even know what he was thinking. And this is where the game turns around for me, at least a little. And he goes for the Outrage, and I'm like, yes. Because I know Machamp can take an Outrage. Hopefully he'll get confused. I was thinking that my D-Punch would be able to kill his Flygon as well, but you'll see what happens. So I live with 23 HP, which is epic. I did predict it, though. I thought I'd live by more. So I go for the D-Punch, and I'm like, yes, I won this. But he lives too by like 20 HP. I did not see that coming. I thought my Machamp was pretty powerful, but he gets past the Confuse hacks, and he outrages me for the win. Now, if he hadn't, I would have won, but good game, and see you guys for the next